Hello everyone and welcome! Theory and explanation videos belong among some of the most popular videos on my channel. There is a huge demand for more. And yet I don't release a lot of them because I like to talk about theories with some actual facts backing them up. Today we are going to dig really deep into the world and the universe of League of Legends. And we are probably going to create the biggest theory yet. But before I go any further, I have to give a massive shout out to my theory crafting chat over at my Discord channel. I would have never gone this deep and uncovered what I have without your help. So now, let's discover the very core of the universe. Riot has confirmed few times in the past, either in their developer blogs or Q&As, that while they are focusing on showing all the different stories around Runeterra, there are few much bigger hidden stories in the universe. For something more than a year now, Riot has been hiding small hints here and there about these bigger stories. And it seems like we now have enough to make something meaningful of it. It is all tied to the overall story of Mount Targon and the Void. I understand that it might be confusing for those of you who don't know anything about it, so here is a brief summary of the story. Very long time ago, when the universe was still empty, celestial dragons popped into the dark space. Aurelian Sol was one of them. Aurelian scattered pieces of his own body around the empty space and filled it with stars. These stars later naturally formed planetary systems around them. That's how Runeterra came to be. Time went by and Aurelian noticed on one of his trips back that Runeterra was now full of life. He watched little humans form tribes for a while before he wandered away into the space again. It was around this time that more forms of life emerged to fill the universe. On his next visit after that, he noticed the people we know as Targonians, living around the highest mountain, looked up and stared at Aurelian. Aurelian wanted a deeper connection with these curious beings and decided to show his true form for the first time. When he descended down to Runeterra and talked to these Targonians, he learned that these people already managed to spread to other planets beyond their homeworld. They then gave Aurelian his crown made of star gems that ultimately enslaved him. The Targonians now use Aurelian's soul to close the void rifts for them. This is all the main story in short. So now we dig deeper into it. So, at the beginning of Aurelian's story, we learn that the people of Targon already managed to spread around the cosmos to other planets. This plays into the theory that Targon itself is a beacon connected to the other corners of the galaxy. We also know that Aurelian has nothing to do with this. All he has done is that he created the planet as a side effect. The magic comes from somewhere else. We also know that this magic is bound exclusively to Targon, since other human tribes were far behind in this magical evolution. We know there is also the Void, which is something like a living dark power trying to spread through evolution and consumption of other forms of life. It evolves based on the prey it has consumed. Prime example is Kha'Zix, one of the lesser minions of the Void who gains abilities from his prey. We also know this is the case based on Nami's lore. Nami's tribe fought back the creatures of the Void for hundreds of years, and they noticed the more soldiers they sent in, the stronger the creatures of the Void got. It seems like the Void is trying to spread around the universe by opening rifts in space and letting loose its minions. That's why the Targonians enslaved Aurelian in the first place. They noticed the corruption of the Void was spreading around the galaxy, and they had to force Aurelian into closing these rifts. So maybe the Targonians are not as bad as they look. They enslaved a celestial dragon to protect their own planet. Or maybe they did that to protect the entire universe. Or possibly, the idea didn't come from the Targonians, but something much bigger. Isn't it weird that a form of life that recently grew up on a planet managed to easily travel around space? To quote Aurelian's story, after they enslaved Aurelian, for millennia he fought Targon's wars, crushed any threats to its dominance, and helped it forge a star-spanning empire. All of these tasks were a waste to his sublime talents. After all, it was he who brightened light into the universe. Why must he partner to such lowly beings? Well, maybe because these lowly beings are part of something much bigger than Aurelian Sol himself. Through his story, we learned that the Ascended of Targon, which are known as avatars, for example Pantheon, are not just one of each. There are many different pantheons spread across many different planets. We know about 4 different types of avatars: the avatar of war, the sun, the moon, and life. And although so far it was confirmed only for Pantheon that his other versions are spread across the cosmos, it is safe to assume that it works for Leona, Diana, and Tariq as well. These avatars are all connected through something Aurelian described as essence. When he killed Pantheon, he listened to the essence of war, and he heard all the other Pantheons arguing and being afraid. But he also heard the essence itself. I tune into the essence of war, twisting and contorting within fleshy vessels scattered across the cosmos. It wasn't happy about losing its mortal avatar on this world. To me, this sounds like there is something bigger behind this cosmic civilization, like a god who chose these little humans to gain control over the cosmos. And if there really is an essence for each one of these avatars, that means there is a god for each essence to control. It all adds up to the theory that there is a council of gods who spread their mortal avatars around the cosmos to put everything under their control. And there is only one reason for them to do this: to fight the greatest enemy of the universe, the void. What if these gods spread seeds of life to new planets, which then evolve into humans, only to be used for their cause? Only to be used to enslave cosmic dragons to fight back the void. The fact that Targonians had their enslaving crown ready pretty quickly after Aurelian showed himself points at the fact that Targonians knew about the celestial dragons long before Aurelian revealed himself for the first time. This means that someone told the Targonians what to do, and since they used star gems for the crown, it is likely that someone else made the crown for them. There is also a single sentence in Aurelian's story that confirms that he himself didn't know about the magic of Runeterra. It confirms that someone else put it here. A bit of me is free now, and in time I will return to this world, tap into this mysterious well of energy and cast off the rest of my tether. By this mysterious well of energy he means Mount Targon, which was created by the gods to connect Runeterra to the rest of Targonian worlds. This fact is backed up by the official symbol of Targon. When I first looked at it, I saw Mount Targon, possibly with Runeterra around it, and 3 other planets. The smallest one, the slightly bigger one, and the biggest one. It was when I looked at the high-res version of this symbol that I realized the mountain, which represents Mount Targon, is a gateway to the rest of the galaxy. Even with the help of my entire Theory Tavern chat on Discord, we couldn't exactly figure out which 3 planets those could be. But we figured it was highly likely that this gateway was created on Runeterra artificially. So to sum up everything we've got so far, Aurelian Sol and the other cosmic dragons may be as old as the stars themselves, but there possibly were gods who occupied the empty space before them. These gods choose new planets, bind them to the rest of their worlds with gateways, sprinkle some humans on them, and when the time comes, they use the humans to enslave cosmic dragons to fight the void. But we can still go deeper. We still have the aspect of the sun and the aspect of the moon. Just like the aspect of war, it seems like the other aspects are also supposed to protect the world from outside threats. When Leona was young, she saw a small golden horned boy. Normally, she was trained to kill demons around Targon, but this one was afraid, so she escorted him to safety instead. When she later grew up and climbed up Mount Targon, she saw the same golden boy, but this time, the sky burned with blazing light, a borealis of impossible colors and the suggestion of majestic city of gold and silver. In its flooded towers and glittering minarets, Leona saw how the Solari temple echoed in its magnificence and fell to her knees in rapture. This part shows the burning heavenly city, which appears in the story of every other ascended avatar of Targon: Diana, Leona, Taric and Pantheon. They all saw this gold and silver city when they ascended. It seems like this is the capital city of these Targonian gods, the place to which all Targonian gateways are connected. The only thing that changes in the Avatar stories is the person who stands before them when they ascend. There is always someone who welcomes them into the real Targon. And yes, that is the term used in Pantheon's story. He stepped forward to meet his guide, walking through the veil of reality to the real Targon. For Leona, it seems to be the golden-skinned horned boy, who, by the way, spoke the ancient Rakor or Targonian language. For Pantheon, it was a mysterious figure. For Taric, it was a man whose body was composed of stars, just like Aurelian. And for Diana, it was an older woman covered in bearskin. Also, when Diana ascended, she had to fight black monsters. When she killed these black monsters, they transformed into a pool of tar, which then bubbled into a purple matter. This hints at the fact that the real Targon is using these as their practice targets, imitating the void creatures, since these seem to have the same traits. But what if those four figures were the appearances of the gods who welcomed them into their ranks? In case of Leona and Diana, we can go even deeper. It seems like there is something bad happening between the god of the sun and the god of the moon. When Leona ascended, she got a vision which only partially explained how the universe works. She realized that the other half of that knowledge had Diana. On the other side, when Diana ascended, she didn't get such a vision. She learned about the universe once she found an ancient Lunari temple. It was as if the essence of the moon didn't want to tell Diana about her fate directly. And because of that, she didn't get the directions to look for her other half. And as we learned from Nami's story, Diana traveled into Ionia, where the void will most likely strike next. Nami's story also perfectly plays into our godly theory. There is a void rift open near Nami's village. Because the void adapts and becomes stronger every time one of their villagers dies, they chose not to fight them directly. Instead, Nami's people choose a champion who dives into the rift and brings back an abyssal peril. They then go to the shores of Mount Targon and trade the peril for a moonstone with a mysterious shimmering wanderer. The light of the moonstone drives back the void creatures and keeps them inside the rift. During Nami's cycle, when she emerged at the shores with the peril, the shimmering wanderer wasn't there. Instead, an old lady told her there were no moonstones to trade back, because the aspect of the moon was gone, and only she could create a moonstone. We can assume this old lady were the same one who accompanied Diana to the peak of Mount Targon. Also, once again, this confirms that the sun and the moon are meant to fight the void, since even their created items are powerful enough to hold them back. As an interesting side fact, notice that the symbol on Nami's staff is the same as the symbol of the void. The last part of this theory is about Bard. I don't think he is directly tied to Targon, since he doesn't wear exclusively gold and silver, but he still uses Targon's gateway. In his teaser trailer, we see Bard using 3 peaks very similar to Mount Targon to teleport away a magical stone. Because at the very beginning the Noxian commander calls it a stone, this means it could be an actual moonstone. Or if not, this magical stone fits the description of an abyssal peril really well. A round magical object surrounded by a metal band, resembling the style of Nami's people, and most importantly, you can see it is infused with the void magic. Every time it drops on the stairs, you can see the purple dust blasting off. Originally, I thought this was just arcane magic, but arcane magic is blue in this universe, not purple. It would make sense that the real Targon would be interested in trading in these void-infused perils, because they can use them to study the void. There are also few symbols in that trailer that I have seen before, but I don't know where. And even after a long debate with my theory crew, we still couldn't figure it out. So if anyone knows where these are from, please type it in the comments below. Before I end this video, I also want to talk about Shurima. Notice how Aurelian's crown uses the same material and design as the sun disk. This hints at the fact that Shurimans may have been forcefully stealing the power of Targon. Aurelian even mentions in his story that they are taking powers they do not understand, and that eventually it will kill them all, which it did. This would explain why there are two Ascended types on Runeterra. You have the Targonian Ascended, or the real Ascended, and you have the Shuriman Ascended, who use the uncontrollable fraction of the power the sun can offer. Also, if Skarner and Rek'Sai look similar, it is because the Void adapted to Skarner's kind. And one last lore fact, after Malzahar got his Void vision in Ikathia, which is in Shurima, he traveled to the north to seek his fate. This references him traveling to Mount Targon, which should be to the north. But for now, that seems to be it for this theory. If you have anything else that could add up to this, feel free to tell me. I know that when Morgana and Kayle get more lore, it is possible that they could be part of the real Targon too, so I wonder if they fit in. Again, I have to thank my Theory Tavern chat for the help with all the details. A lot of connections were made only because of you. And to the rest of you, if you like this video, feel free to click the like below. If you are into lore, you can also subscribe for more stories. You can also follow us on Twitter, Facebook and Discord if you'd like to chat. Once again, thank you so much for being here and for your feedback, you know I really appreciate it. And as always, thank you come again.